Good morning, good evening, or good night, wherever in the world you are, whatever time of day you are watching this. Welcome to your latest Forest news on match day. And it is Leicester City against Nottingham Forest. Bilbo Baggins versus Steve Cooper. I can't wait for this match. For me, it feels like it has been months, if not years, since we've last seen a Premier League game. Guys, if you feel the same way and are excited for the match, maybe you're nervous for it, start by hitting the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you are new, and make sure you got your notifications on because we've got the match watch along, should I say, tonight at 7:30. The link's in the description. Go click the notify me button so if you're not going, you don't miss it. Finally, before we get into the news, don't forget to go get your free Amazon Music for 30 days. The link's pinned to the chat, and it's completely free and you can cancel at any time. 30 days free music. In today's video, we are going to talk about the fire being back. Steve Cooper looks like a new man, a changed man. I've seen another interview with him, and I want to talk you guys through that. On top of that, we're going to have a final chat about the game tonight and what to expect. And then we'll cover off a few other bits and bobs. So let's get into it and let's start with this interview. Steve Cooper looks to me like a man who's had some sleep, at least a bit of sleep over the last 2 weeks, and maybe some time to reassess where he's at and what he's thinking about. In an interview I've seen on the Forest TV channel, he talks a lot about where we are now and where we were 12 months ago. Now, it's not a conversation that I like because a lot of Forest fans use it in a way that I don't like, where they're saying, well, look where we were now, would rather be bottom of the league or close to bottom of the league now this year. For me, it's all about reflecting back on where we were this time last year and understanding where we are now and not giving the opportunity away and just folding over. And to me, that's how Steve Cooper is addressing it. He was clear to say in his interview that look where we were last year and what we would have given to be in the league this year. And for me, that's the right attitude to have. It's not something I've heard him say over the last few weeks. And it's clear to see that he's reflected. He said he was going to reflect after the Bournemouth match, and we saw exactly the same in the Fulham match. But he's got a little different twinkle in his eye. And for me, it feels like he has properly reflected now and started to think about how does he fix the problems that he currently has within the teams. So I see a different Cooper. Contract still not signed, I know. We've talked about that plenty. But today is more so about getting you guys and me ready for the match tonight and backing the boys. Come what may, if we have to see Yates on the pitch, if we have to see Cook or Worrell on the pitch, then so be it for now. We're just going to have to back it. We can have our say after the match. But until then, let's just back this and pray for the result. This result is huge. If we win this, puts us up to 7 points. Now, we should be on at least 11 points, in my opinion. But again, that's a discussion for another day. But it starts to build us momentum and starts to take us into the Villa match on a front foot. Villa, I watched them yesterday against Leeds. And to be honest, I nearly fell asleep watching it. Yes, I'm still not fully recovered from COVID, but that match did not help. What I'm looking for tonight is energy, a performance, a front foot performance, and a goal, or at least sustained pressure on the Leicester side of the pitch to make sure that we turn the crowd against them. This is going to be gladiator style. As they say to Maximus, win the crowd, win the mob, you win the crowd. If we can win the crowd over in an inverse effect, if you like, that's going to add more and more pressure onto the Leicester players and Frodo Baggins from the touchline as well. And we could see the momentum shift. Now, key things we have to cover off are how he selects the team. The team needs to have more bodies in midfield. It's blatant and obvious to see. And if Cooper really is back and if Cooper's really got that sparkle in his eye, I'm sure he's seen it and will add an extra body into midfield. Now, will he go and fully fledge and fully change the formation from a 3 at the back? I don't think so, because something you got to bear in mind is that he's only had 1 or 2 training sessions with the full team after their return from the international break. So he hasn't had time to rework this with the team. As All About the Beautiful Game subscribes to the channel, thank you very much. He hasn't had the full time to work with them. Now, that's not to say that he can't do it, because maybe they've been working on it pre the international break and it's something they can go about doing. But either way, we've got a fragile Leicester in front of us. A fragile Leicester who, if, we put the foot on the throat and press a little, their heads are going to pop right off. So that's what we've got to take. That's the motivations we've got to take with it. Overall, rest of his interview was quite positive. There are the usual buzzwords that go on and everything, but I do like how he says that he only wants to be in front of the cameras or front facing in times of adversity because he wants to lead from the front. That's good to hear. And when we're winning, he wants to kind of be faded into the background. That's true leadership and true management. But he has to step up now and show that he's learned from the mistakes of especially the last 2 games. I think he will, and I'm going to go into this game really, really positive. We'll see how I feel at 7 o'clock though once that team sheet comes out, but that's for the stream later on at 7:30, so make sure you are tuned in. So overall, he's got a spark in his eye. He's giving me a little spark in my eye, a little more energy as well. Let me know how you guys are feeling ahead of this game. There was also an interview done with Neco Williams, which I'm going to be honest with you guys, I didn't think was the greatest interview. He's a good lad, but I don't think he's very well media trained, and his answers were a bit blank and vanilla is probably the best way I can describe it. They talked about, but the one thing I do want to discuss about what he said was the whole wing back versus full back position. And it's clear to me to see that it's new to him. So he's still adapting to it. He talked about it's not just about defending, it's also about getting forward and attacking. And he's not really got his head around it fully yet. And to me, that makes sense. It just adds further fuel to the argument of him and Lodi are more set in a back four. You got Neco Williams, who did it at Liverpool, who did it at Fulham in a back four. And you've got Lodi, who is arguably 25% of one of the greatest defense we've seen in our time in Atletico Madrid, trained by one of the greatest defensively minded coaches in Simeone as well. Again, another day, another discussion on that. But it's clear to see that Neco Williams is still adjusting. Now, what Neco Williams needs to improve on, if we are going to stick to this 3-5-2 formation, is his crossing and delivery of the ball. He started off really well in the friendlies and in the first couple of matches where his crossing and delivery was actually quite good. Excuse me. But it seems to have faded in the last few games, and he seems to be shooting at times where he should be crossing, and when he shoots, he seems to be dragging them low and wide for a start. So I'd like to see less shots from him, more width in terms of his attacking position, more interplay with Brennan Johnson out on the right-hand side, and more crosses delivered into the likes of Uwoni or maybe a Coyote or a Yates coming in late from the midfield if they're playing to attack and head of that ball. So that's what I hope he's been working on. He's also talked about fitness and how much more important it is to be fit as a wing-back, and I fully agree with him. A wing-back is one of the hardest positions to play on a football pitch. Doesn't matter how good you are at it, you have to be able to get up and down that pitch at the right times and not end up behind or in front of the ball, depending on the situation on the pitch. But overall, he's still adapting. It's clear to see, and it's self-admitted from him. But I would like to see him have a bit more media training. I was pleased he stepped up in front of the camera, but his interview didn't fill me with the confidence that Steve Cooper's one did. What they both talked about, which I found quite interesting, was calling this a local derby. Now, technically it is, and technically we've had our discussions on whether or not it is, and I think the majority of Forest fans would agree that it's not for us. This is just another game for me with 3 vital points. It's a big game, but not because of the opponent. But I think the point on this is Cooper's using this to potentially motivate the players further, to make sure they understand that this is an important game, there's bragging rights behind it, etc. Look, at the end of the day, this is a local derby for Leicester. But if we are being part of that game and we beat them, then we can slap them and shut them up with it, if that makes sense. So hopefully that's why Cooper's using it, to motivate them, to make them understand, to add a little more spice into the game. But overall, I'm feeling a lot more confident, a lot more motivated about this game than I was 24 hours ago. Look, the keys to this game, and we'll just quickly cover this off. If the formation changes, I'm 50% more confident on the win. If it doesn't, then what is key for me is where Brennan Johnson plays. Even in the 3-5-2, if he's told to drag out wide to the right, because he did do that in this formation last season, this could spell a real good recipe for Forest, because he will end up dragging defenders out of position. I've said it many times, and opening holes in the middle of the park for our more creative players to come through and attack. He can also run with the ball, attack with the ball, and he's got a good delivery on him. If we can do that, that to me is the key to the game. And also controlling that midfield. We need 3 bodies in there at any time. O'Brien, Mangala, Freuler, whoever the 3 may be, that would be my choice. Obviously subject to MGW being fit or not. So this is going to be an interesting game. I'm pumped up for it. I'm ready for it. I'll be popping a lot of ibuprofens before the match to get me through it. We'll also have the player rating straight after the match and potentially a fan forum if it doesn't get too late for you guys to get in and get your opinions on it. Let's finish off by talking about the injury list. So there's a lot of ums and ahs about who will be fit and who won't be. I just want to give you a quick run through. We've covered a lot of them over the week. It's been a long week in terms of a build-up for this match. But to me, in order of least likely to play will probably be McKenna, followed by Niakate, followed by MG Dub, and then followed by Dennis. Now, Dennis, I think, is fully fit and ready, but I still think Lingard will get the nod ahead of him. I've got a sneaky feeling that Niakate will start this game based on nothing but maybe hope rather than anything that our main man, our captain without the armbands, can come back into the team and correct all the mistakes that have happened. Now, I do also think in a 3-5-2, if Niakate is in there and Mangala is in there, it would mask and pave over the cracks of a formation that is broken, that doesn't work, and we can still get results with it. So in a way, the 3 at the back, if Niakate is in there, but he's alongside the likes of Biancone or Bidet, and then maybe one of the favourite FCs, I still think we have a better chance with that. And then in midfield, if you've got Mangala alongside O'Brien or O'Brien alongside Freuler, that could work as well. So the formation isn't ideal if it's 3 at the back, but if the personnel is strong enough, they can make it work. Look, a lot of the time we've been talking about formation, and I'm guilty of it as well. But at the end of the day, I've heard this saying before, and I kind of agree with it. Formation is the first excuse for a footballer. A footballer still has to go on the pitch and perform. Yes, formation does play a part in it, but you still have the ability as a footballer to get the ball, to pass. Being able to pass a simple A to B pass in football does not require you to be in a set formation. What does help with the formation is obviously the battles and the midfield battle that we talk about so much. So let's see how this one lines up. I can't wait for this match. I'm nervous, excited, optimistic, scared, cautious, all of them in the same vein. But I want to know how you guys are feeling ahead of the game. Are you confident? Are you less confident than you were maybe a day or two ago? Let me know down in the comments below. Like I said, we'll be back tonight at 7:30. I can't wait for this one. We'll be dissecting, going through the whole team sheet from 7:30 up until kickoff, figuring out, is he right, is he wrong, the usual stuff us fans love to do before a match. And then come 8 o'clock, business time. And let's see how the Mighty Reds perform against their local rivals. Guys, thank you for watching. Don't forget, before you leave, to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and we'll see you tonight at 7:30. Of course, go and get your Amazon Music free trial for 30 days. The link's pinned down below, and come on, you Reds.